Alrighty, how's it going, YouTube? CVH here, and it's time for our first video for the first impressions of the Heroes of Skyrim expansion coming soon on June 29th to Elder Scrolls Legends. I'm really excited to dive in and start looking at these cards that were just starting to be revealed today on June 13th. This is going to be my first impressions video. I will be doing more as the cards continue to be revealed, maybe even a full review once I have more time to think about it, maybe after this set gets released. I'm not sure yet. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any opinions about that. And say hi, everyone, in Twitch chat right now. We got a couple hundred people here. Say hi to YouTube, because, yeah, I figured we have so many people here. If you guys have good opinions about the cards, it would be nice to have them recorded in case someone calls something crazy or terrible, so they can go back and say, hey, I was right in CVH's chat. So yeah, I think we're just going to dive right in. They revealed 5 cards so far on Twitter. They've all been legendaries. They've all been all of the 5 attributes. And the first one is right here. Let's make sure it shows up properly. Skeletal Dragon. Oh, actually, let me make sure we can see all of it. There we go. Perfect. I think it's perfect. Skeletal Dragon, 8 cost. Endurance Dragon. 5/5 with guard. Summon, give all creatures in your discard pile +2/+2 with a last gasp. Draw a random creature from your discard pile. So this is the first one I think they revealed. Yeah, because it was the first one I clicked on Twitter, which means it was at the bottom, which means it was first. So I did get a chance to already see some of the different reviews. People have been talking about this on Reddit a bit. I checked that out before I started the stream today. I was a little bit surprised. Oh, bear in mind also that I am fairly critical with card reviews. That's been me throughout all card games that I've played. I tend not to be like a pessimist, I would say, but I tend to be pretty critical when I first see a card, and my mind immediately goes to all the ways something could go wrong, all the ways it might be too gimmicky, all the ways it might be too slow. As a person who's always trying to find what's best in like the top decks, I'm not really one for these crazy gimmicks and stuff, so I will be reviewing them based on that. But yeah, we have an 8 cost 5/5, which on the surface is not very good. This is pretty awful, actually, stat-wise. Even with the guard, you might say, well, guard kind of saves the stat line. I don't really think that's the case, and we can kind of use Indral Archmage for that. We can take a look at that card being a 6/6, and that card doesn't really see much play at all, even with guard. So it really is not impacting the board much. So clearly we can say right off the bat that it's going to be part of a slower deck if it's going to be part of any decks. The first summon effect, which you would expect to save a poorly statted card, you would assume that would save the card because all of a sudden you have the ability to impact the board immediately. Cards with bad stats frequently have good impactful summon abilities. Giving all creatures in your discard pile +2/+2 could potentially be impactful depending on the kind of synergy that's released and what your deck contains. Based on what we know so far, it doesn't seem super good. I don't really think that's a big deal. The last gasp of drawing a random creature from your discard pile obviously does have synergy with the summon effect, so you're going to be buffing everything in the discard and then getting something back, which will be slightly bigger, but +2/+2 at a minimum of turn 9, basically, because you're playing this on turn 8. Your opponent, let's say they kill it right away with the Piercing Javelin or something, you get something back. You're getting +2/+2 of value, so that's 8 cost, 7/7 of value. You had the original guard, and you have a very RNG-dependent effect with the last gasp, depending on how many creatures are in your discard pile. Obviously, late game deck that would be playing this 8 cost would have a higher density of expensive creatures, but I'm not really seeing the consistency of this card being there. It is a non-unique legendary, which is worth noting. I think what seems to be the case is they might be doing 1 unique and 1 non-unique for every single color, which would make a lot of sense, but I don't really think I want to play one of these cards in my deck. I really don't think I want to play 3 of these cards in my deck. If you get this card, like, since it doesn't have an impactful summon ability, if it gets shackled or belligerent gianted or silenced, like, that's just the worst. That feels terrible. That feels just as bad as Indral Archmage being shackled or silenced or bounced by belligerent giant, except even the fact that they can kill it. Like, if they kill Indral Archmage, at least it does something to the board that could potentially be very annoying. If they kill this, they're just gonna get one more card in their hand. And if you're the aggressor, if you're playing that aggressive mid-range deck with the belligerent giants and stuff, you really don't care about that. You've been giving them cards through their runes either way. Defiler plus this could make a mess. I mean, I'm trying to think about it, because like Defiler in itself was another very overrated card with this card potential. Like, you fill your discard pile with other things, but like Falkrate Defiler has literally only seen play in Control Warrior, and that hasn't been the best deck because of all the gimmicky combos that are occasionally very powerful. but more often than not are just kind of in your hand as a 4-cost 3/3 and stuff. Yeah, I think it's very, very heavy, but yeah, I don't think this card sees any amount of play if it doesn't get some pretty insane synergy, but even then, like, it costs way too much for, like, I can't play an 8-cost 5/5 in all good conscience that's not Eclipse Baroness, because Eclipse Baroness, it's a +2 in value, whereas this is just 1-for-1ing in value. Eclipse Baroness draws cards and reduces the cost of them. Eclipse Baroness doesn't really have too much RNG dependent effect because you're already reducing both of the cards. Like if you're playing a late game value deck, I think you just want Baroness more. Unless there's a really good reason to buff my cards in my discard pile, which I'm not totally sure. Yeah, I don't think it's very good. It's I wouldn't even say it's 8 mana 5/5 draw card, because you don't even know if that's really going to happen. At least it would be a summon ability, but yeah. The next card I'm a little bit more excited about, Ulfric Stormcloak. Yeah, and that's important to note too. The synergy we don't really know yet. All we know is the first 5 cards that have been revealed, so it is rather hard to rate these because we don't know what other cards are going to be out there. Yeah, Ulfric, apparently it's exciting from the lore, I'm not really sure. I first read this card as a 6-drop 6/5 and I thought it was going to be terrible, but 5-cost 6/5, where, you see a creature get revealed, the first thing your eyes drift to, besides the color, are the stats for the magic cost, and 5-drop 6/5, while not insane, it's not like Blood Dragon stats, but it's pretty damn good, right? Like, it's better than Tusk Bristleback, which means, at least it's arena playable, so we're already good there. And it is a unique legendary, unlike the last one, so you can only play one of these. And it's 5-drop 6/5 with Breakthrough too, so that's just a little bit of icing on the cake. When you play a Shout to draw a random Nord from your deck, this being a Nord itself, obviously. Now, this is kind of hard to rate because we haven't seen any Shouts yet at all, and we're not exactly sure how they're going to work. We know a little bit of it, like, you play them, and the next time you play it, it gets better, but I really don't know what they're going to look like, so if we don't know how good the Shouts themselves are, we really don't know how good Ulfric Stormcloak is, but the floor of the card is already playable, right? Like 5-drop 6/5 with Breakthrough, I'm already not going to hate myself for playing this card. As long as the effect is something I really want, and something I can feel like I make use out of more often than not to good effect and, help me close out games, then yeah, this card is going to be fine. I don't see the stats really holding it back. Nothing is negative on the card. I just don't exactly know how good when you play a Shout, draw random Nord from your deck is. Will the Shouts make me want to add more Nords to my hand? Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Shouting into your mic wins games seems good. Yeah, someone in a Twitch chat yesterday said they think the Shouts will be you have to have mic connection to your game. So whenever you play a Shout, you literally have to scream into your mic, which would be pretty fun, but a little unreliable. Yeah, I'm not like overjoyed about the card because I don't know what the Shouts look like, but this is something that I'll be excited to revisit when we see the Shouts, and I think this is definitely way better on the surface than good old Skeletal Dragon, which I'm so disappointed this card doesn't look good because the premium's gonna probably look really sick, and I'm pretty sure the premium on this is not gonna look as sick. No offense, Ulfric, but yeah, at least you're playable. I think you're playable at least. Alright, so we have another one. 8-cost legendary action, a land divided. So fill the left lane with Stormcloak aggressors or the right lane with Colovian troopers. Now, we do have at least one dev in the chat right now. I would love if you told me what a Stormcloak aggressor was before I moved on, but if you don't want to do that and you want to save it for something else exciting, I'd understand. I can't imagine it would be too exciting. Again, this is hard to really rate without knowing. We can say they're probably on par with Colovian troopers though, and those are the 2/2s with guard that you spawn off of Midnight Sweep. We have Imperial Reinforcements, which fills a lane, either lane, with 1/1s. So 4-cost, 4/4 value on the 4 bodies. And now we have an 8-cost, 8/8 of value through 4 bodies with guard. So that's, slightly better, but it also costs double, which is pretty crazy. Again, it's not a unique legendary, so you could potentially play 3 of these. An aggressive or defensive choice. Yeah, I assume they're going to be aggressive. Obviously, the word aggressor sort of implies that it's going to be more aggressive. Yeah, so we really need to know, right? Because I'm not going to play this card if, like, it's just the Colovian Trooper value. But, like, aggressor could mean aggressively statted. It could just be a 3/2. It could be a 2/2 with breakthrough. That would be pretty bad. I don't see myself playing that card. It could be, someone said charge. Now, if it's charge, I think this card might be too good. Because charge is pretty scary, right? Objectively, charge is the scariest keyword in the game. If it has charge, I don't know, all of a sudden we have some, let's see, we have Divine Fervor. That would make, if they were 2/2s with charge, that would be like 12 damage. Warcry might be a problem. That'd be 16 burst. That's like this game's Force of Nature Savage Roar. Could be 1/1 charge. Well, they might just call him Nord Firebrands, and that wouldn't be very good, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's charge, guys. I don't, unless it was confirmed in the chat, but I didn't see that being confirmed, so... It'd have to be a 2/2 or 2/1 with charge. With 2/2 and charge, I think that would be maybe too good still. We really have to know, like, yeah, I mean, at 8 Magicka, in, like, a token spell sword with some late game, I would play this to get 4 2/2s with charge. I probably would. A land divided is a huge target for rage.
A land divided is a huge target for
rage. I don't know, if your opponent has a good breakthrough thing, and they're playing a deck that would usually include unstoppable rage, and you decide to play a land divided and fill that exact lane up with 2/2s, it's kind of on you if you get unstoppable rage, I think. If it has charge with Warcry, does it remind you of something Druid used to have? It does, as a matter of fact. One should stick to Dawn's Wrath if the creatures don't have charge. Yeah, I don't think they would go in the same decks at all. Typically token spell sword decks, and that's what this card is, right? It's a card that generates a bunch of tokens. Clearly not a control value card, it's just putting things on the board that would get wiped away by another control deck. I don't think it would compete for the same deck slots as Dawn's Wrath. But yeah, I agree that if the Stormcloak aggressors aren't very, very, very good, this card is probably not good. I would probably play it in Arena still if it wouldn't be the worst legendary ever to pick. No charge and they just died to Ice Storm, agreed. Because you're playing this card in the late game, right? You're not always going to be against a control deck, but against most other decks, this card is not going to be fast enough to see much play. So you have to get the stats. Now this, I don't know if it's the best card they've revealed so far, but it is the most interesting. So I'm really excited to talk about College of Winterhold. The 5-cost support, first support we're talking about, the unique legendary. Uses 3, activate, reveal 3 random 1-cost actions and draw 1, then increase the cost of cards this reveals by 1. So let's see here. Actions, 1 cost. So what are the possibilities right now? Intimidate, Rapid Shot, Firebolt, Execute, Blackmail, Imprison, Scouting Patrol, Shadow Shift. So yeah, you're not really getting a high impact card. Arrow in the knee. So yeah, some variance there. Yeah, so this is basically like the Discover effect from Hearthstone, which people don't like to see a whole bunch of. But yeah, the inherent value of the card is, it's like 5 cost, draw 3 cards over 3 turns. And not Alter Despair. Orb of Vermina is kind of similar. Orb, you're limiting your draws to the cards in your opponent's deck. And with this card, you're limiting it to actions that cost 1, then actions that cost 2, then actions that cost 3. So on average, the cards you're going to be pulling from this card are going to be much worse than Orb of Vermina. At the bare minimum, at least you do get to choose from 3, so it's unlikely that you get like you never get like the actual worst card, right? You get like the second or third worst card sometimes, but you never get the worst possible card. But yeah, this card is incredibly slow. Shadowfen Priest exists. Control Mage is the only deck that would want to play a strict value generating support, I think. And Control Mage has way better ways of getting value than this card. This card is... it's shooting your own tempo in the face. You're spending 5 on a support that gives you a 1-cost action. On turn 5, you can't even play that 1-cost action, and even if you could, we've already been through them, and they're not very good, right? They're just not super high impact. 2-cost actions don't get much better. 3-cost actions... well, let's give it the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's check, but I really don't think there's anything. Healing Potion... well, it's showing me the other cards too. Ice Spike, Soul Split, like these are bad. Like these, they're so very specific. Plunder, I guess, has a lot of value. Finish Off's okay. And this is also unique legendary, so you can only play one of them. But yeah, I don't think, by the time we get to the 3-cost actions, we're finally getting some good value. I think if it started at 3 and then went up to 5, this card might be pretty damn good. But it starts at 1, so, you know, by turn 7 I can finally tap this support if it survived for 2 more turns. And I can finally get my Cast Out or my Stone Throw or my Mummify, my actual good control cards. Yeah, I definitely think it'd be very, very good if it could start with 3. Yeah, but it starts at 1, and I'm not excited about it. I'm not excited about this card. And if this card is good, it implies that your control game plan is going so well and giving you so much time that, I mean, you could play Somerset Orrery and you wouldn't lose the game, right? You can just sacrifice tempo to do whatever you want. Alright, so the last card we're going to be revealing today, let's see. Brynjolf. I think it's Brynjolf? Brynjolf? Someone in chat correct me. So 5-cost 4-core with Drain, 5-cost 4/4 with Drain, and when a friendly creature pilfers or drains, gain +1 Magicka this turn. So, 5-cost 4/4 is not great. We've seen cards that are 5-cost 4/4 be pretty bad before, but unlike those cards, I think this card has some pretty high utility effects. So Drain is already pretty solid if it sticks, right? Kinral Burglar 6 cost 4/4 with Drain, and obviously snowballs after that. But you know, if it does live, you know, the Drain is not. It's not too little, right? It's a solid amount of drain you're getting. And it doesn't get answered by literally everything. Everyone's saying like, holy cannoli, Pilfer Monk value. Yeah, so when a friendly creature pilfers or drains, gain 1 plus magic this turn. I think this might be the kind of card Pilfer Monk needed. It was hard to pinpoint. People always ask me, oh, what kind of cards does Pilfer Monk need to be good? And I'm like, I don't really know. Whatever they release, we'll see if it does enough for it. And I think if you can drop this card after like a Master of Thieves or something, you like win the game, right? If you have a Pilfer, then Master of Thieves, everything gets to attack twice. If you have Thieves down on the board, anything on your board, all of a sudden you play Brynjolf. I don't know how to say it. If you play the Jolf and your opponent like, or you gain like 2 or 3 plus max, you gain +3 Magicka or +2 Magicka that turn, like it pays for itself. It should pay for itself if you can set up for it reasonably well. If you have one other creature that pilfers the turn or drains the turn that you play this card, instead of being a 5-cost 4/4, essentially it's like a 4-cost 4/4 because you're gaining 1 Magicka. And if you have 2 or more uses out of the effect, or it lives for multiple turns, I think this card just immediately wins you the game. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, obviously gaining Magicka and being able to use it immediately is one of the most powerful things in any card games. We've seen that in multiple card games. Torval Crook, you know, despite being a pretty bad card overall, can lead to some disgusting wins when it does stick, and you combine it with like a Master of Thieves. The fact that this is a unique legendary is actually kind of sad to me. I feel like if you could play 3 of these, it would just be way too good for Pilfer Monk. Pilfer Monk might just be tier 1 at that point. So by itself, I don't think it's really changing the nature of Pilfer Monk, because it is a 1 of in a 50 card deck, but I do think this is exactly the kind of card Pilfer Monk needed. I think, first impressions, I want to say this is the best card out of the 5, with a honorable mention to the Ulfric card. I think this is the second best of the 5 pretty easily. I think the other 3 probably don't see play, in Constructed that is. But yeah, if you play it with Thieves Den in a Pilfer Monk deck, this card is crazy, right? All of a sudden, no matter how many creatures you had on board before this, that's how much free Magicka you get this turn, and if it sticks for multiple turns, like, holy shit, basically, it's going to go crazy. You're going to get way too much Magicka, you're going to snowball the board more than you already are. So yeah, if it were a non-unique legendary, it would probably be too powerful. I don't want to play a game where my opponent curves into this consistently after a Master of Thieves or a Thieves Den. I think that's probably why they made it a unique legendary. And I think it's way better at a 5-drop 4/4 unique legendary than if they made it like a 6-cost 4/4 non-unique legendary. I think that would just be too slow despite being able to run 3. So yeah, I mean, I could see this card being pretty damn good. I definitely could see this be very, very good in Pilfer Monk. I still don't think Pilfer Monk would be good if this were the only edition in a 150 card set, but I mean, we'll see what else there is. If there are more cards that are kind of comparable to this card's power level, I could see Pilfer Monk getting way better than it is currently. Dude didn't play Skyrim, conserved. How do you actually pronounce it? No one corrected me. People are just making fun of me. Brynjolf? Yolf. Oh, soft. Yolf. Damn it. I was like, let's just call it a Jolf because I don't... Alright, it's a Yolf. Alright, so Brynjolf. Or Brynjolf? Brynjolf? Brynjolf. Thank you, the Elorion. Thank you for an easy-to-read pronunciation guide. You know, I feel pretty proud of myself right now. But yeah, I think Brynjolf, now that we know how to pronounce it, that's a big part of the card. Brynjolf is probably the best card here. I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. Not insane, I don't think it's broken. The fact that it's a unique legendary helps it not be broken. Going to give that an 8 out of 10. Going to give the Stormcloak, what did I say, like a 7, 7.5. And then I'm going to give the rest under 5. I don't think the rest of cards see play in Constructed, but hey, no worries. I think we're probably going to see 2 legendaries per color. I think that's kind of the trend they seem to be setting because they gave this a non-unique, this is a unique, this is a non-unique, this is a unique, and this is also a unique. So we probably get like 1 unique, 1 non-unique per color, per attribute. So that's exciting. We have a lot more legendaries to go, and obviously all the other cards are really going to dictate the power level of the set. I wouldn't lose my mind if the majority of legendaries weren't Constructed playable. I actually might be more excited if that were the case, so people weren't feeling that they needed to not only buy a lot of packs of this expansion, but also make the most expensive cards in order to be remotely competitive. But yeah, I think if you're playing Pilfer Monk, expect to try to pick up a Brynjolf. I think it'll be pretty good in the deck. Brynjolf. It's pretty funny. Yeah, if you're playing Merrick, I'd expect to pick that card up, and if you're playing a deck that doesn't exist yet but could be pretty sweet, Ulfric's probably good in it, but I'm looking forward to revisiting that card and all the others we've talked about as we get more information about the set. So if you're watching this on YouTube, as always, feel free to leave a like and comment your thoughts. Love to hear you join the conversation, and let me know if you have any ideas about these cards, if I've rated them incorrectly in your opinion. Feel free to let me know your thoughts, your first impressions. Feel free to subscribe for more content on YouTube for Legends. I'll be doing more first impressions videos for these cards as they get revealed, like I mentioned, and I'll see you guys next time.